In today's conversation, we have the pleasure of speaking with Victoria Bello, product manager at RIA in a Box. Victoria specializes in everything from integrations, partnerships, and new product growth. In today's conversation, you'll have a chance to hear about Victoria's background and the truly niche and unique intersection between compliance and technology in the wealth management industry. Victoria, super excited to have you on our show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited as well.
Victoria, you're a veteran of the regulatory and compliance technology industry. You've worn many hats. First question I want to ask you is really around, this is a truly niche space. What interested you in this intersection of regulation, technology, and financial advice?
Yeah. So, one thing that really interested me is there's constant innovation, which keeps my role very interesting. So, new regulations are constantly being rolled out and analyzed, and it really kind of keeps us on our toes. So most people would consider compliance to be rather boring, but I think there's just a ton of opportunity for innovation and products to come out of that space. That's really what kind of keeps me engaged every day. And ultimately, we're just trying to make things a little bit more simple and intuitive for the CCO. So it's really kind of a fulfilling role as well to see people have that aha moment and be like, this is great. This is saving me so much time. And, that's really what kind of keeps me going.
Awesome. And you know what, the whole innovation element of things and some of the work that we've done together is around sort of fostering technology around meeting, the rollover requirements, or whether you look at it from a DOL or SEC's perspective, or Reg BI's perspective, I should say, it is true innovation, and it truly helps folks do their day-to-day a lot better, which is fulfilling, and I totally agree. More generally, though, what do you believe the role thematically of technology is when it comes to helping financial wealth management firms and advisors meet their requirements?
Yeah, so I think technology plays a huge role in that. One of the biggest objectives is just saving advisors time and chief compliance officers time. So that's what I'm always trying to think about when we're, putting on our product management hats. Because ultimately, CCOs and their advisors, their objectives are to bring in new accounts, service their clients and grow their business. They're not really thinking, they should be thinking about compliance as well, too, but it's sometimes not always top of mind. So that operations role really for them is somewhat time consuming. So we're trying to kind of innovate all of our products to just ultimately save time, make it intuitive, come up with workflows that, can turn, intimidating tasks like new regulations, that need to be implemented at a firm into kind of just small tasks. So, we don't want the compliance officers and advisors to feel like this is, climbing up a mountain to, implement a new regulation at their firm. We're really just trying to make things as simple as possible and ultimately just save time.
Amazing. I totally agree that that technology can truly make things a lot easier. So now, you talked about kind of climbing a mountain. If Victoria Bello had a magic wand, what would you do with that? What would you do if you could wave that and sort of make some magic happen a few times?
Yeah. There's a lot of things I'd want to do, but the biggest thing I get questions about, almost daily is integrations. There's so many different, wealth tech providers out there, and it's really just how do you connect those that, is going to make the CCO's life and the firm and advisors and everyone at the firm just operate like a well-oiled machine. And, I think if we can figure out how everything can talk and bundle, I think that's kind of the key to success, to, again, save some time. And then just be a little bit more efficient. So that's something that's always kind of top of mind for me, that I'm always looking into and researching and, kind of connecting the dots, and something that I find interesting.
You know what? That was one of the best answers I've heard. I ask this question often, and It's so true, because as firms have actually started to adopt technology and foster technology across their organizations, the next layer is, can the technology pieces, not sit in silo and actually talk to each other, which is, hey, I hope you get that magic wand and you can wave it. And I bet you that that's kind of the next layer of innovation across our industry. Speaking of integrations, we've got an integration between our capabilities. We've got an application that helps advisors make recommendations that are in the investor's best interest. We've partnered with RIA in a Box to meet the Department of Labor's expectations around this. Maybe I can ask you to talk a little bit about kind of how technology is playing a role in making sure that firms and advisors are meeting that element of the regulations.
Yeah, of course. So, I think especially with the DOL and PTE 2020-02, it's really ramped up over these past years. So there's been a lot of anticipation around it. And I think one of the things that we're doing here at RIA in a Box is we're just kind of constantly learning about this rule. So one of the best practices that I've put in place just as a product manager, especially with the DOL rule, because there's been changes year over year, is just kind of making sure that I'm kind of following all the breadcrumbs. So, setting, Google alerts to read an article for 5 minutes a day, and really kind of educate myself to, at the end of the day, be prepared and, be able to implement, new products and services like the rollover analyzer. But I also think that, is applicable to CCOs and advisors too, is that, you really have to kind of take nibbles at some of these new regulations every day, so they're not so overwhelming when that day comes, like July 1. So I would just say, you kind of have to keep your pulse on everything. And, just don't get flat-footed when it comes to these things, because a lot of the times it can take, months or even years to roll this out and properly implement it at a firm. And, that's one way that, technology really does help, is that, it can quickly implement and change processes, on the turn of a dime here. So,
You know what? It's so funny you say this, because as much as technology is there to foster adoption, I don't think some of the elements of human behavior will ever change. For example, we were talking earlier around, just the past couple of days, there have been 18, demo requests, I think, between Monday and I guess today's kind of middle of the week. Given the regulatory deadline, there's definitely a lot of activity and a lot more folks kind of knocking on our respective doors trying to foster some technology. Having said that, Victoria, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, and it's always a pleasure. Hopefully we can host you on future sessions.
No, thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like the video and subscribe for more around our Wealth Compliance Leaders series.